This tutorial is going to show you how to make the OTS graphics for our TV show. The template is online, so you're really lucky I didn't make you do it from scratch. I even put in the alpha channel. You might not know what an alpha channel is now, but you will in a bit. So if you go to our Gmail and you log in and you go to our G drive, you go up here and you go to Drive, you'll see you have quite a few folders and one that even says 2017 graphics template, which it should say graphics templates. So I'm going to add an S. Then if you come here, you'll see you have an ROTS and an LOTS. So you're going to download both of those just by clicking on them, and then they'll open up here. Double click, then you click up here and say download, and it'll go down here. Then you can say show in Finder, and then it'll show you where they are in the Finder, and you can drag that to your jump drive. We do have access to MGN Online, which allows us to look for different kinds of news stories by searching up here, and we can do that in class because I have the login and password. And here are the breaking stories from today. You can see there was a shooting in Florida. There's lots of people here. Here's the shooter, so you just have to kind of decide which photo you think is going to be good. You do have to worry about it being too graphic. If we did take this image, the one thing we'd have to be concerned with is that it has pretty much everything that you're going to put in your OTS in there. So you want to make sure that you don't pick something that's going to have the location and the headline, because you're going to have to make your own headline. So one thing we're going to want to maybe do is consider picking a different one. So we could pick one of the actual shooter. We could put a picture of the mass of people that are piling out. So you just have to kind of pick one. This one has a lot of blood. I would probably not pick that one for our OTS. So that's something you have to think about. But I'm going to go ahead and pick a different photo for today. So let us see. We can do a hit and run, because there was that hit and run that happened last year at the crosswalk. So I'm going to download, and I'm going to say original, because it's a bigger size. You can see it's 1280 by 960, so it's a larger size. So I'm going to click on this, log in, and then I'm going to download it. Now you want to make sure that you put all the items that you use in a folder on your jump drive. I would label it the show, whatever show it's going to be that you're doing the graphics for, and then you're going to want to label them by what they are. I usually label them by what they are in the block. So if it's the A3 story, I'll call it A3 ROTS, and I always make an LOTS and an ROTS. You never know when things are going to switch up, where there might be a mistake. So it's important that you make graphics for both the left and the right. So you are going to need to make the left and the right, and that's part of your graphics grade. So you will have to make ROTSs and LOTSs as well as a full screen. Now with this one, I know that the story is going to be about a hit and run where a girl got injured, and it's an MSU student, so I could leave the words hit and run in here because it'll tell more than just maybe this image right here. So for this instance, I'm going to go ahead and download the one that says hit and run. And what I would do is I would find it. You can relabel it hit and run if you want. And then you would take this and then move this to your folder where you have your other files. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you. So what I would do is label this as the actual show, but this is for my tutorial. And then you're going to want to put this in here. To make it more organized, what I normally do is I make a new folder and I say images for graphics, because you're going to have a lot of images in here and it's going to start getting a little difficult. So that way you have images for graphics, and then I have a folder where I'll make show 1 graphics. And this is where I'll put all the finished graphics. So now I'm going to go back and we're going to go to Photoshop. And these are the OTS templates that I've already made for you. In order to have a OTS graphic, over the shoulder graphic, you have to have what we call an alpha channel. And I've already actually created this for you. Without this alpha channel, this would show up as a full screen graphic. So you don't have to worry about the alpha channel. It'll already be created for you. You just have to make sure that you input the images, make left and right graphics, and do a headline and a location. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, Open, just like in Microsoft Word, and I'm going to open up my graphic. So I'm going to go Images for Graphics and hit and run. Just like in Microsoft Word, if you hit Command A, it'll select all. And you want to select everything so Photoshop knows what you want to copy. Then I'm going to hit Command C to copy, or you can see it just highlighted here, blue, letting me know that it did go edit copy, or you can go up here and say edit copy. These little letters right here and symbols let you know what the hotkey is. Then I'm going to go to my ROTS. I'm going to turn off my alpha channel. And I'm going to go to this layer. This layer 3 right here is where it's just like a template for you to see where a picture would go. So I'm going to hit Command V or edit paste, and it's going to paste my hit and run. I no longer need the layer 3, so I'm just going to hit the delete key and delete it. Or you can select the layer and hit the trash can and it'll delete it. I'm not going to delete it because I want to keep that. Now we have to get this image inside this box. Now it is critical that you follow these steps properly. If you don't, then your photo will be warped. The person will be either too smushed, and it'll look kind of like they were looking in a circus mirror. So we have to do things proportionately. So we're going to select the layer that we want to adjust the size of. So we're going to click on it, and we're going to hit Command T, and it goes up to Edit, Free Transform. But I like hotkeys. So now we'll see that there's these little boxes on it. What this means is now we can adjust the size. If you just pull in from left and right, you see it smushes it. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo. Undo, which is the Command Z, will only undo one step. So if you make a mistake, stop and hit Command Z to undo. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hold the Shift key and move down to the bottom. This allows us to do things proportionately. That means if I go to any corner, bottom, top, left, or right, I can pull while holding the Shift key, pull inward, and it allows me to adjust it proportionately. Now sometimes you might not be able to get all of the image in there, so you might have to delete some. So I'll do that so you can see how to fix it. Now I'm going to let go of the Shift key, and I'm going to move the image and try to see, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better, that if I have it all in there, and I don't. So I'm going to hit Command T again. I'm going to hold the Shift key, and I'm going to pull outward, and I'm going to go beyond. Obviously I'm going beyond on the top and the bottom, but you want to fill from left to right, top to bottom. So I'm going to hit the return key to apply the transformation. The only way you can move things in Photoshop is if you use the move or selection arrow, which is up here in what we call your tools palette. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click, hold, and move it around to where I see what I want to see. You don't want to cut out the headlights because that's part of it. So I'm going to go ahead and probably pull it down just a little bit. You can also use the arrow keys. Right now I'm using the arrow key on my keyboard. Now I can see that it fills left to right, but I have part of the image above and below the box, this little blue box. So we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this marquee tool. This allows you to select various items and do a lot of things, but what we're going to do is we're going to use it in a manner to delete the extra graphic. So if we click, hold, and drag with our mouse down, and we don't want to go into the box because then we'll delete it. So we're going to click here, say it's in the box. You can actually use your arrow keys on your keyboard to move it up. I'm going to get it on the blue line. It will not delete the blue line, it will only delete whatever is on the layer that we've selected. So now I'm going to hit the delete key, and you've deleted the excess photo. So we're going to go down here to the bottom and do the same thing. Wherever this little hash mark is, you can see on this little guy I'm moving, that's where that line will start. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag. Again, if I'm too close, I can move down or up, and I'm going to now hit the delete key, and now I've deleted the excess picture. Now if you click again, it'll get rid of the marching ants, or Command D to deselect, or edit, or select, deselect. It'll allow you to deselect those marching ants. When you have those marching ants, it means that it's only going to allow you to adjust whatever's in those marching ants. So it's important that you get rid of them. If you want to keep your stuff really labeled, you could label this hit and run, or you could call it picture. Now I have the hit and run. Now I just have to put the location, and I've made that easy for you right here. Do not change the text. Do not change the size of the location. It should be able to fit up here. So I don't need to change Starkville, but if I needed to, I can get the text tool. Looks like the text tool that you have in your Microsoft Word. Come up here, click, and then now I could actually highlight it if I wanted to, or I could just start deleting and I could say Mississippi if I wanted to. We do want it in all caps, Mississippi. The one thing we have to worry about is we do want to make sure all of our text is from this line over. These are what we call title safe. Everything within the box that is this big will be seen on your TV definitely for your text. So this is what we call title safe. This is the larger one, which allows us to have your graphics. This is going to allow you to see all your graphics. So all your text must be within this area. That's why we have these guides. These little teal lines are called guides. They do not print or show up on your graphic. They're just there to help guide you, which is why they're called guides. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo. Won't let me go back in time. So I'm going to go to this button right here, which is History. If you ever need to get to a window, you can also go up here and say Window History. I can go back to where I changed the name. You can see these are the things that I've done. I'm going to go back before I edit the type layer, and I'm going to go to where it says Name Change. So I'm just going to leave it here, and now it goes back to Starkville. So Command Z can only go back in time one time. However, the history you can go back a lot of times. Now at one point, it will stop allowing you to go back as far as you might want. So you have to be careful. Now we need to change the headline. So I'm going to get the text tool again. If you move the cursor, you'll see it has a box. That means it's going to create a new text layer where you can type. We don't want that. If we move our cursor closer to the text, you can see that now it has no box and I can click and it allows me to select this text. So we have to determine a headline for all our OTS graphics. So we can say MSU student injured in accident. You could also do a different headline. You don't want to give away too much, but you want to make sure that they're aware of what it is. Again, I'm going to use the move arrow. The reason I have this guide right here is that's where I want the baseline of your text to be. What that means is that you are going to have the bottom of your text there. So you can either use the move arrow and drag it, and we want to kind of center it in the box. And remember, we want it to the left of this line. So I'm going to move it over. And then now I have my headline. To make it easier on myself, I'm just going to highlight the text, take the text tool, click, 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 Command C to copy. Now I'm going to go to my ROTS. Now I'm going to go here and turn off the alpha channel. Go back to my location, my headline, highlight it, click, 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 and then I'm going to hit Command V to paste. Now what I need to do is I just need to move it. You can move your move arrows with your keyboard, or you can just use your mouse. I'm going to leave it as Starkville, and now I just have to put the picture here. Now instead of having to resize it again, what I'm going to do is go back to the ROTS. I'm going to select the picture layer, hit Command A to select all. You see the marching ants up here. Command C to copy. Then I'm going to go back over to my LOTS, Command V to paste. I do need this layer to be down here where the picture layer is. If not, you can see it's going over the box. Layers are kind of like layers on a bed. Like if you have the pillow on top of the sheet, on top of the comforter, you'll see the pillow. But if you drag it below, you're not really going to see all of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click with our move arrow, move it to where we need it inside the box. Always zoom in and check that you have it on the bottom. You have it on the top, left and right. And if you need to, you can use the move arrow to adjust it. To zoom in, you can zoom in down here in this area just like you can in Microsoft Word. 300%, you could type 100%. You can also hit the Command key and the minus, or the Command key and the plus. And then these slider bars allow you to move around just like you have in Microsoft Word. Or you can hit H for hand and drag it and move it around. I'm all about the hotkeys. Hotkeys can also select things in here like H for hand, M for marquee tool, V for move arrow, L for lasso, C for crop tool, G for paint bucket. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Now that we have these graphics, it is critical that we save them as a PSD, and then we have to save them in a format that can be used in the studio. If you only brought us PSDs, there is absolutely no way that we could put this on TV. The reason why we do the PSDs is because it's important for you to be able to go back and make an edit. Like one time we had somebody have a word misspelled. So if you have a word misspelled, you cannot change it unless you go and you have the actual PSD document. So it's important that you have the PSD, so that way if we notice a misspelling or there's some kind of graphic problem or maybe they make an update to a story, we can actually change it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to save it. Like I said, when you have graphics, hopefully you can know what area they go in the rundown, and we'll talk about rundown in a different lecture. So then you're going to call it like whatever the story is. So for this one, we're going to pretend it's A5. So we're going to go and do A5. So we're going to say File, Save As, and we're going to save this graphic. We always want to let people know what side it's on and how big it is. Unfortunately, I can't get it to allow me to show you the Photoshop part, but right down here, it won't let me make the window smaller. Let's see if I move it down, if it'll let me make it smaller. No. So right down below this, it says Format, and it says Photoshop. That's good. So I'm going to go to my Images for Graphics, or not, excuse me, I'm going to go to my Show One Graphics, and I'm going to get rid of the 2016. And in the front, I'm going to say we'll say A5, LOTS. So I'm going to say Save. It's going to say, do you want to have maximized compatibility? Sure. Now we're going to go here and we're going to go File, Save As. And we're going to say, get rid of the 2016. And we said A5, space, Show One Graphics, A5, ROTS. Now we have both our graphics, but these cannot be used on TV. They just allow us to go back in time. You will be graded on if you created the left and the right graphic, if you had Photoshop documents and the targas. If not, then you're going to have your grade suffer for the show. So this cannot be used on television yet. So what we have to do now is we have to merge these graphics. So you do need to remember that you saved these, because you'll notice it says .psd, and you have all these layers here, which allow you to go back and edit. But when we go up to Layer menu and we go down here to where it says Merge Visible, which is out of my frame, unfortunately you can't see, it says Merge Visible, which is at the bottom of this menu. It's going to merge the visible layers, and now I have one layer, which is great because this makes it easier for when we're doing stuff for a TV format. Now we have to go up and say File, Save As, because we're saving it as a different type of format. To get to use a graphic on TV, you have to change it to a targa. So on the bottom where it says Format, which is unfortunately out of screen since I did the 1080p size, you can click on Format and you're going to go down to where it says Targa. When it says Targa, underneath Targa it's going to say Alpha Channels. So that's going to allow you to, and I'll take a screenshot of it so I can maybe put it in there. It's going to allow you to have the alpha channels on there, because without an alpha channel, this is not an OTS graphic, it is a full screen graphic. So now you can see it has a .tga, and we're going to hit save. This is critical. 24-bit is for full screen, 32-bit is for OTS graphics. Every color channel has 8 bits, and an alpha channel is an 8-bit graphic. So you do need to make sure that you save it as a 32-bit, press OK. Now notice, it does not change it from .psd. So after you're done, if you close it, you want to make sure that you do not save the PSD. So if I close this, it's going to say, do you want to save the rots.psd? You'll notice that you only have one layer. Do not save. You'll always be able to go back to the original. The other option I do is, like, say I have multiple graphics that I still need to make after I merge the visible and save it as a targa. What you can do is you can actually go back in time using the history. So say I've designed the A5 graphic, but now I need to go on and design the A6, the A7, the A8 graphics, or whatever graphics you need to do. If you go back up to either Window History or this little icon right here, History, you can see I can click right above Merge Visible, and now I have all my layers again. So again, you can go to this History, and instead of Merge Visible, you can go back right before it, and now you have your layers. But the first thing I do then is if I know I'm making a new graphic, so I don't save over my A5, I'll go File, Save As, and I will change it to whatever one I'm going to do next, which is maybe A6. So then I'll save it, and then I know now I'm ready to create my A6 graphic, and you do it all over again. After you're done, what you have to do is you do have to log on to our Gmail, and in our TV show folders, so you'll go to the drive, Spring 2017 shows. You'll see there will be extra folders in here. I haven't made them all yet, so we'll say Show Graphics. And then what you'll do is you open Show Graphics. You can then go to your Finder, New Finder window, find your graphics. So mine are on my desktop. Yours will be on your jump drive. I will go to Show One Graphics. I'll select all of these images, click, hold, drag, and drop, and it will upload all of them. Again, you have to have a left and a right OTS graphic for every OTS graphic you do. You have to have a PSD with layers. If it's a PSD with no layers, I will take points off. And you have to have a Targa graphic. The Targa actually allows us to use it on the TV show. The PSD allows us to go back in time and make changes if we need to make changes. So this is what the graphics person will do for the TV show. You will also have a tutorial for this in class that's worth points. So you can reference this tutorial whenever you need to.